Hey there guys, I'm Will and welcome to FP1, and today guys, just have a quick chat about the quarantine situation in our sport at the moment. Now, I may be alone in my room, obviously we are all quarantined in London at the moment, but I've got my friend Reece again with me today, so yeah, do you want to say hi?
Hello there. I was in a previous podcast, but I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, so how are you anyway? Might as well start with that.
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I've been watching the virtual Grand Prix and stuff like that, and
Nice.
been keeping up with the news. So
Yeah, no, I did kind of have a quick look at the one in Australia yesterday. Was it yesterday?
yeah,
Or a couple of days
I
ago
think it
anyway.
was it was a couple of days ago at least.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. It's good to see the sport kind of taking steps, and it's better than nothing, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So I'm not
yeah,
going to complain at all with that.
yeah.
So right, let's
Should
start
we
then.
start with the results of that?
Yeah, actually,
Or
yeah, why not?
yeah,
So yeah, I'll let you lead this bit.
yeah. So I didn't really. It was more of a I watched. I didn't really watch it. I went through it, what, looking at the Twitter stuff, and the
Nice,
results were Charles Leclerc for, taking the win, Christian Lundgaard in the Renault, George Russell in his Williams, Arthur Leclerc driving the Ferrari as well, um, Giovinazzi in the Stoffel Van Dorn. I can't remember what he was in. I think he was in the AlphaTauri. Louis Delatraz in the Haas, I think it was. Alex Albon in the Red Bull in 8th, and Jimmy Bullenberg in 9th, and Nicholas Latifi in the Williams as well in P10.
nice.
Um,
Probably the best result Williams going to have all year, I'd say. So,
yeah, I think so.
so um, yeah. Well, let's
Yeah,
let's now move on then to the actual season itself,
yeah.
and well, are we going to have a season, do you think? Just to maybe catch everyone up, I'm sure you guys know this already, but the first 8 rounds of the season have been called off or
Yep.
postponed. So we know Australia and Monaco definitely aren't happening. With the other weekends still, in doubt, they've been postponed indefinitely, so they could fit them into the calendar later on into the year. We'll get on to where they might fit in a little bit later. So at the moment, the season's supposed to start in Canada in June. Do you think that's going to happen, though?
No, to put it
Okay.
simply. I think it might have to wait until around the end of the summer break. So it would say so
So around
maybe
Spa.
Hungary time,
Okay,
Hungary Spa time. Yeah, I
that's
think about
fair.
then is where it would have to.
I don't know off the top of my head what the coronavirus situation is like in Canada at the moment. Also, I know Trudeau had it,
Yeah,
but that was a while ago, so I'm not sure.
yeah,
I've not really been keeping up to date with how it's been going in other countries.
yeah.
Um, are there any weekends that you think will not get back onto the calendar? Looking at the ones that have been cancelled so far.
Um, I don't think. I think Bahrain we might have back. Um, China, I definitely think will be postponed, be cancelled for this year. Um,
Interesting. Okay, I
because
feel
obviously
like
that was the start, so it would be heavily controversial, and I don't
that's
think many
true.
people would be happy with
That's
it.
true.
So
But if you think of it from a Formula One perspective, China makes them a lot of money,
mm.
and you've also got the fact that I think the situation is beginning to kind of fall down in China now, and I think maybe
Yeah,
towards the end of the season or maybe the start of next year, perhaps even keeping it in a very similar slot, but in 2021, if we're
yeah,
going to have this super
yeah,
season that people are talking about, we might see
yeah.
it there. If not, perhaps towards the end of the year, maybe into January. I'm not too sure. Bahrain, I can see that happening as well. I think you can fit that in with Abu Dhabi,
Yeah,
and that
no,
works
for
quite
sure.
well with like traveling. Um,
Yeah, just on the back of Abu Dhabi and stuff like that. Maybe the
yeah,
next weekend afterwards.
definitely. I feel like
But
Baku though won't make it back. As I
yeah,
hate to
no,
say
I don't.
that because I really
Yeah,
love that circuit. We have some great races
yeah,
there, but I think
yeah,
this year, just because it's a straight track, it's kind of why Monaco
mm.
pulled out as well, alongside the
Yeah,
fact that Monaco haven't got to pay a race fee.
yeah.
But it's just so much harder to kind of stop the city for a day, and
Mm.
just to get that all sorted.
Yeah, for
Silverstone,
sure.
I want to talk about though, and that's because they've come out. They said we want to help F1 in whatever way we can.
Yeah,
Mr. Pringle, who runs that, and that is a brilliant name. I'm going to put that out there. But
for sure.
yeah, Mr. Pringle, who is the head of the Silverstone circuit, It has basically talked about maybe even making it a reverse layout, which is very interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think they've got like reverse layouts and they've got shorter layouts as well.
Mm.
So they could utilize all of them, and think we could certainly get at least 4 races out of it, if not.
Yeah, exactly. I feel
Maybe.
like what we could say, I've not seen this kind of put around everywhere, is maybe more, like you said, alternative layouts. So
Yeah.
Bahrain as well. If you think back, was it
Mm.
2010 that we had the slightly different layout? They could use that and have 2 races in Bahrain. And then similarly
Yeah.
with Silverstone as well. Obviously, the circuit
Yeah.
changed in, I think, in 2010. They switched to what we're currently using.
Yeah.
Also, I think the start grid was on a different place, looking at Cox
Yeah.
being the first corner rather than Abbey. But
Yeah.
again, I think we could use that kind of pre-2010 circuit
Mm.
with a slightly different layout. I think it was going into just before the
Yeah.
Brooklands section and Woodcut section.
Yeah. Think about it now. You could add at least two or uh, two, one or two maybe extra layouts, because obviously you go under the bridge.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true. And
that's what it was before.
yeah,
And then obviously you had the short circuits as well.
I
Um,
feel like the most the tricky thing is with that is obviously it was taken off for a reason.
yeah.
It was taken off Canada for a reason. But if
Yeah.
it's to boost the championship up to the amount of races that they need to even consider it a championship, I think it's 8 races they need to have in the season. Well,
Yeah.
first that's a little bit scary that they're thinking they could only have 8 races.
True.
But I think that I'm all for it. I don't think we'll see more than
Yeah.
2 races at one circuit, but
Yeah.
Bahrain and Silverstone, I think might be the
Mm.
two tracks where we could see alternate layouts really play a
Yeah.
part. Um,
Yeah. That'd be pretty good.
the big worry though, and I think moving into 2021, the new regulations may have been pushed back, but it's teams and how many
Yeah.
teams will actually have for that 2021 or 2022 season. Just
Yeah.
before we get into this, I want to take you back to 2008. We had that financial crisis. Now,
Hmm.
obviously that affected worldwide, but a lot of the teams are based here in the UK. And I think, what was it? Toyota then left.
Yeah.
BMW
Toyota.
left.
Yeah.
Who else? We lost Renault a couple of years later.
Yeah.
And
Lotus.
yeah, exactly. I do
Was that a
worry
bit?
that we could have that again.
Yeah.
And you look at a few teams, there are a few teams that are in doubt. And I think Zach Brown came out and said that that F1
Yeah.
possibly has the risk of losing 3 or 4 teams, which
Yeah.
is really frightening.
Yeah. Um, I think on top of that, you also have to evaluate the impact of Brexit as well,
Yeah, that's true.
because
Didn't
that
even think
could
about
be a double whammy on the British economy at least.
that.
And obviously with so many teams being based in the UK, that could possibly. I mean, this would be an incredible reach, but you could even see Red Bull and Mercedes struggling to
Wow.
get the finances, because with a double whammy on an economy, the chances of any business coming out of it strongly,
Mm.
you're going to be looking towards financial
Yeah,
sector.
I think you're right,
Um,
and also looking at these brands, F1 is going to be one of the first things that they get rid of in terms of
Yeah.
if they've got to save the brand, things like Formula One are not going to be high on their priorities list. That's part of the reason why
Yeah.
Renault left in, was it 2011 or 2012? They
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
exited the sport for a few years, and
Yeah.
Lotus took over. So
Yeah.
it is worrying, and I'm thinking that maybe the teams that could be at risk this year. Obviously, if Zach Brown's making that comment, that obviously raises a few questions about McLaren.
Yeah.
Though I don't feel that they're going to be the most risk. I think the two teams that I'm really worried about are Haas and Williams. Obviously, Williams we know
Williams.
are,
Yeah.
they've always been quite on edge with the money side of things, especially in the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
Really since BMW left the move to Sauber. And then obviously Haas, we know from the Drive to Survive, they're already kind of looking at their future in the sport and whether it's right for them. And their pace in pre-season testing didn't look particularly promising.
Yeah. God, testing was so long ago. I forgot all about that. Yeah, no, I can't really, because I think the most important talking point from testing that I remember is Mercedes DAS system.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just the most memorable for me.
And that's what's still
And
being banned for 2021 as well.
yeah, and I think that's potentially something that would need to be considered if we do to go towards a super season. Going back to that,
Ooh,
would
yeah.
they allow that for the super season, or
That's a
would
good
it
point.
be
I feel like
completely stopped?
I feel like since the season started in 2020 and the 2020 rules are already
Yeah,
outlined, they'll be allowed to keep DAS. But that's a very good point. I don't know. Given the fact that the whole point of a super season is you keep the cars the same, I think they'll probably allow them
yeah,
to keep it.
yeah,
That really depends if we have a 2020 season and a 2021 season. I think if they split it in two, then yeah, that's
yeah,
fine. But I
yeah,
do feel like this 2020 season could kind of run into 2021, maybe finish in January. I know that's been talked
yeah,
about by a few teams. I
yeah,
think depending on how far it goes into January will depend on whether they just say, what the hell, let's make it a super season. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to really wait and see on that one. When do you think
yeah.
the season's going to finish? Out of curiosity.
Think what we could do. I definitely think it would finish in January if we do have one.
Yeah,
But what it could happen is sort of have a shortened 2020 season and have maybe like one testing session or two testing sessions in between, maybe February time, and then restart in March.
possibly. I also feel like if they're
Um,
trying to reduce costs and if it's the same chassis anyway, they might just scrap
yeah,
testing as a whole. And I think
yeah,
that might be
exactly.
better. It would make things like the Spanish Grand Prix maybe a little bit more
Mm.
exciting because they haven't got all the data and they haven't got as much
Yeah,
data.
yeah, exactly.
Then
Yeah,
again, you could flip that the other way and you say it's the same
mm.
cars that they're taking to the same tracks again, so they could have all the information they need. We're not too sure yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, potentially.
yeah,
Um,
but I think it's not something that Formula One have done before. Obviously, this is the most the
mm.
sport has been disrupted, I think, since it started
Oh,
70
for
years ago.
sure.
So
Yeah,
it's a really tricky situation to be in, and we haven't really got any prior knowledge to fall back on and think, okay, this is what's going to happen. Because if you think back to the last outbreak, what was it, swine flu 2009? We didn't really see as
okay.
much. I can't remember
No.
why Formula One wasn't affected as much. I was only 9 years old, in fairness, but
Swine flu wasn't as serious.
it's
I think.
yeah, that's
So,
true. That is true. Um, so yeah, have you got any final thoughts on it then? Any other things you want to
um,
discuss?
well, obviously, we have to give a massive shout out to one McLaren working with Southampton,
Yeah,
um,
that's true.
and for Mercedes working with UCL to develop the um, ventilator
That is a good point. It is quite nice to
design.
see. Yeah, it's good to see
Yeah,
the teams
yeah,
repurposing themselves, and they're not just
mm.
kind of sat there. Obviously, the summer break or that some well supposed summer break that we used to have, it's been pulled back now. But it's nice to see the
Yeah,
teams are still fighting this and doing their best
yeah,
to
yeah,
counter this situation. And
yeah,
also, Ron Dennis as well. Those
yeah, yeah,
free meals for the
right.
NHS, which I think is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
And it's
quietly
just
I
good to
did
see
that.
F1 in a really positive
Mm,
light. And
for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Mm. And it's good to see that the ventilator has gone through its testing
Mm.
of the 30 that they made initially, went through the system, and now an order has been made for 10,000. So
Fantastic. And I
if
also
they
read
could get that,
this morning that Mercedes high performance powertrains has also now been repurposed. So it's
yeah,
not just the main bases; it's even the
yeah,
powertrains now that are
yeah,
moving in and trying to do as much as they can for the NHS, and it's obviously quite a difficult time. So
yeah, it's
yeah,
very good. Um, but yeah, I think other than that, potentially the only thing that I can see is a recent article on Formula One that I implore everyone to check out at least.
we'll leave a link
It's
in the
titled,
description.
yeah, How Ferrari Were Just One Step Behind Mercedes on DAS, which is an interesting development
Really,
from the
just
technical
one.
side. Yeah,
That's interesting because I did hear that Ferrari considered DAS but then supposedly
mm.
scrapped it. Now that could just be them saying, "Oh, we missed this. Whoops!" But yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know about that. So
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah,
that's,
I'll leave that link in the description box you guys to check out below. But yeah,
yeah,
guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're all staying safe in your homes as well at the moment. Reece, thank you very much for coming online and helping me out with this. Good to talk
yeah,
to you again
thanks
as
for
well,
having me.
bud. And hopefully, yeah, we'll
There you
get a
have.
proper podcast, where we can actually see each other
Yeah.
in the near future anyway. But yeah, I hope you guys did like the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe as well. And obviously when this season does get underway, I will be releasing videos as much as I can on it, and also more podcasts like this. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day, guys, and I will see you in the next one.